But tonight's talk is going to be on economic preparation. It seems appropriate as the Dow is tanking at 500 points, and then up 200 and down 200 to talk about economic preparation. Well, let me start off by saying I am not an economic expert in any way, shape, or form. I am not an advisor on economics by any way, shape, or form. I am not an expert in that in the least. And so if you want to talk to somebody about what you should do with your 401k, I'm not your guy. I got rid of mine a long time ago. In fact, I cashed mine out to start my business. But I'm not the guy to talk about those kind of long-term financial planning. But what I would like to do is talk a little bit about how money and economic preparation goes with being prepared. And let's start by talking a little bit about how we would be, how money and economics would impact us on short-term emergencies, like an earthquake or a storm or a flood or those kind of things. Like on the last one, I said, banner will show here. I put no banner here. I'm trying to be more funny. It's not working very well. Short-term emergencies, like an earthquake or a flood or storm or those kind of things, the power goes out. Powers goes out, ATMs stop working. Or other than my wife's ATM, I'm my wife's ATM. She comes and takes all the money from me and goes, I don't have any money. I go, why? She goes, well, the kids needed money, so I gave them money. And I said, well, how much do they need? Well, they needed $20. So how much did you take out of the bank? 20 bucks. I said, take 40, give them 20, you still have 20 bucks. Wow. Anyway. But the Bank of Me would continue to work in a power outage, but ATMs have stopped working. They don't have backup power on most ATMs. And banks may be closed or damaged because of an earthquake or a flood or whatever. I mean, just the bank doors won't be open that day. And then maybe after a day or two, even if the banks can open their doors, they might not have the roads, abilities, trucks, or whatever to transfer funds around. I don't know if you know this or not, but your bank does not carry hundreds of thousands of dollars to dispense. They keep that in centralized banks, and they only dole it out in small portions. So if if 2 or 3 or 4 people went to the bank, picked like a WAMU or whatever, and said, I want to withdraw $20,000, $10,000, $20,000, they would only be able to do that for a couple of 3 people, and they would be out of cash. They just don't have that kind of money around. And so having some money at home or stored away for short-term emergencies is really good, because we might not just have access to it for a few days. For longer-term emergencies like a job loss, or something like a pandemic flu, or something that would take, that would go over a period of days, weeks, those kind of things, or a terrorism attack, or those kind of things where you may not be able to be out much, or something that would last a few days longer, you might suffer a loss of income just because your job might be gone. In the 1916 pandemic flu, there were half of the movie houses shut down because people didn't want to congregate with large groups, and they never opened again. Half of the ones, a lot of them shut down, but half of them never reopened. They just went bankrupt. They didn't have the money to continue through. So, in a long-term problem, or a long-term financial thing, the place you work might be gone. There's layoffs or those kind of things. So having a store of money, I'm not necessarily talking about putting it under a mattress, but having some money for a rainy day is what we've been counseled to do. The other aspects of some long-term emergencies, and because we're having some financial difficulties in the stock markets and the housing bubble and the banking problems and that kind of stuff, is with price gouging or hyperinflation, where yesterday a loaf of bread cost $3, tomorrow it costs $6, and so having some extra money around that way is not a bad idea. I'd like to kind of go back to and let's talk about what money is. It is something that we live with so intimately every single day. We have it, we use it, we spend it, we keep it, we stick it in our piggy banks, we do a lot of stuff with it, but most of the time with stuff like that, we don't often think about what money is. If suddenly money were to vaporize, it suddenly disappeared, we would invent something immediately to take its place. That's the kind of thing we have to have. You just have to have money. because bartering is too difficult. You know, okay, I'll give you 3 pigs if you'll do my dental work. The dentist says, I don't need 3 pigs. What do you need? I need chickens. So you got to take your 3 pigs and go find somebody who's got chickens. You know, how much is a pig and a chicken worth? I don't have pigs or chickens, but you know what I mean. And so bartering is difficult. So if money were suddenly vaporized, something else would take its place. Shiny rocks, nut husks, you know, something would take its place as a transitional something of value. If you look up in a dictionary or an encyclopedia about what money is, there's basically 3 characteristics of money. One is that it has to have a store of value. That means whatever it has to have a store of value. If I were to hold up a gold Krugerrand, you would say, I know that's value. That's gold. I know that's valuable and has a value to it. Hold up silver. That has gold. Any of those, they have intrinsic value. That is something that you instantaneously know has value. If I was to hold a coconut husk, you'd go, oh, no, that doesn't have a value. Hold up a gold Krugerrand, that one you would immediately know has value. And so that's one of the reasons why gold and silver and those kind of things have always worked well as far as money, because they are a known value. The other thing it has to be is widely accepted for economic transactions. You know, you can't say, okay, well, I have I have a platinum piece of, a platinum piece of coinage here, and somebody goes, I don't know, is that worth something in where you come from? Ain't worth, where I come from. That's one of the reasons why if you put $20 bills in your pocket, you can take it almost anywhere in the world, and that a US $20 bill will have value almost anywhere you go on the planet. There's very few places where you can hold up a US $20 bill and it not have some kind of value that people know. If somebody were to hold up a $100 million, Zimbabwean bill, a $1 billion Zimbabwean bill. They have them now, by the way. Their money is so worthless, they're printing up $1 billion notes. That's how worthless they are. But you would have no idea. You go, wow, I'm rich. Yeah, it's worth about 30 cents, actually. The third thing it has to have a unit of account that is easily divisible. Let me give you a for instance. If I had diamonds, I would hold up a diamond, and you would say, yes, that has value. Now, does that diamond and that diamond have the same value? Maybe not. Can I divide this diamond into into smaller units, and have it measure the same, worth the same? So if I were to take ounces of gold, cut the ounce in half, and have 2 half ounces of gold, the 2 ounces of gold will equal to 1 ounce of gold. 2 smaller diamonds would not add up to the value of a major diamond. The more you cut a diamond, the less value it has. And so a diamond does not fit that. Although it's valuable, it does not fit that criteria of having an account of money. That's one of the reasons why. Have you ever heard the term pieces of 8? Right? Do you know where the term pieces of 8 came from? It was a gold doubloon. A gold doubloon, and they started cutting them because they needed smaller and smaller denominations of money. And rather than printing smaller and smaller coins, they would take a doubloon and they cut it in half. And they cut it in half again. And they cut those halves those halves into halves, and those halves into halves, which is quarters, and then eighths. That's the smallest they could get away with. And so 8 of them would make a gold doubloon. That's why they're called pieces of 8. So if you had all 8 pieces, you would have a gold doubloon. And each one of those had a known value to them. Each of those little pieces would have a known value.